how to reset. A lot of parents who I see and speak to in this community often tell me that, by the end of the night, by the end of the day, they are completely and utterly exhausted. They don't have anything left in their capacity to be able to move forward, to be able to even unpack what's happened during the day. They're just exhausted. And so today I am going to be going through with you some strategies that are going to be helping. So let's just first set the scene, okay? You've had a really long day, right? You've had a really hard day. You have gotten into bed and you're laying there and finally you just sink into the mattress and you're like, okay, great. The lights are off. The kids are in bed. It's my turn to just stop. And then it happens. The mental chatter that happens when it's peace and quiet, right? That's when it all sort of starts coming to the surface. What happened? Where did things go wrong, right? All the horrible, awful, terrible, awful things that happened during the day, that's when you're going to be reliving them right then and there. So it might be when you yelled at the kids because you were running late yet again for drop off. Maybe you were really angry and frustrated with your autistic child because you now had to cancel a last minute appointment with your therapist, which meant that you had a cancellation fee because they were having anxiety or they didn't want to go or for whatever reason was coming up. Or maybe you forgot to defrost the meat for dinner and you were hoping to change the way that you were eating, your eating habits. And so you ended up eating takeout and you just felt so alone and so scared and so just depleted. You felt like, here I am trying my best and it still feels like it's not good enough. And by doing that, our brain thinks it's trying to help. Honestly, I want to stress this. Our brains are wired to look for the threats that happened, to analyze the threats, and then to figure out what can we do next time so it doesn't happen again. And so that's exactly what happens when that chatter comes in. You're reflecting on what's happening and you're thinking about, okay, what happened? What went wrong? What can I do next time so that it doesn't happen again? So by doing that, your brain thinks it is actually helping, but in actual fact, it's not helping. It's actually making things so much worse. And the difference here is that the brain doesn't recognize what's real and what's not real. And I don't know whether you've heard this before or not, but if we relive something in our minds, our brain thinks it's happening right then and there. It thinks that by reliving it, that you're experiencing it. So automatically, right, your blood pressure will go up. Your heart rate will start racing. Your cortisol levels will go up, which means that going to sleep is almost next to impossible, right? You are not able to switch off because in that moment, you're reliving what a terrible parent you thought you were by screaming at your kids to get in the car so that they can or put their shoes on or put their socks on, or why are we being late again? And why are we the only family that always rocks up after the bell? By doing that, our brain is saying, we are trying to figure this out and we don't know what to do next. And so, a lot of the times our brains are doing what it can to think that it's helping us, but in actual fact, it's not. So what we're doing is we're problem solving, we're trying to figure it out. But in actual fact, what we see is, and women tend to do this a lot. There was an experiment that I just want to briefly just dive into just for a hot minute, is an experiment that looked at getting a group of men and a group of women on separate occasions and putting them in a room with no distractions whatsoever. And they looked at what they were thinking about. They were in there, I don't know, half an hour. And men were thinking about, they were either thinking about sports or they were thinking about sex. The same experiment happened with women. And what they were doing was they were reliving the conversations that they had had probably in the past week. They were reliving what was happening because they didn't know. Did they do something wrong? Were they not sure? Did that person like them? Did that person not like them? So we do this as women. We do this all the time, and we do it at nighttime because finally there is no distractions. We don't have the phone. We're not looking for threats. We're not looking for anything that needs to be done, cooking the dinner, putting the washing away, anything like that. So that's why this mental chatter comes in at that point in time, because it thinks, okay, the nervous system goes, great, I can relax now. And the brain goes, great, let's fire. Let's go. Let's discuss what's happened during the day. And that makes it really hard because now you've been laying in bed for an hour and it's now probably 11:30. You know that your kid's going to wake up at the crack of dawn. You need to get to sleep really quickly because if you're not going to go to sleep, you're going to wake up tomorrow feeling cranky, exhausted, emotional, all of those things. And by doing that, by not having that sleep, what that means is you can't show up for yourself and you sure cannot show up for your child, right? A lot of the times, especially in this community, our autistic kids are trying to co regulate with us so that they can get back to center as quickly as possible. But if we haven't slept, if we haven't poured into ourselves, there is no way that we can co regulate with them. It's impossible, right? And I say this, I've definitely lived that. And I know so many parents who are listening to this have done it too, right? So now instead of Bobby having a meltdown and you being able to co-regulate with him and getting him back to calm in a much shorter amount of time means that Bobby's feeding off your energy of exhaustion, anxiety, depression, upset, sadness, anger, whatever it is, he's feeding off that, which means that now Bobby's emotions are going to be in a whirlwind, which means that he can't get back to center as quickly. And you won't be able to co regulate with him the way that you would like to because you just don't have the capacity. You don't have what it takes to be able to step into that space so that you can be there. And so, we get cranky as women. Like we get cranky, we get hangry, we reach for the thing that is going to be our coping strategy. And a lot of the time, we reach for sugar, right? We're reaching for the cherry ripe, the Mars bar, the chocolate cookie, the brownie, whatever's in the pantry. Now, desperate times come for desperate measures, ladies. And I know for a fact that I have gone into my baking supplies when he really hit the fan and I've needed a sugar fix to just get something going on to make me feel like just to sort of take the edge off, right? And again, raises blood sugar levels, which changes the composition within our own bodies, right? So that leads to something else. Other parents, other mums, other dads are reaching for the wine. Sometimes they're reaching for the socials. Sometimes they're reaching for, the pills, the joint, the whatever, right? To take the edge off what's going on. And that it's a vicious cycle and it'll go on again and again and again and again. So making sure that you can recognize when you are needing that strategy, when you are looking for that coping mechanism, and then either replacing it with a healthier coping mechanism, which is something that we can talk about on another episode, but recognizing that, right? And recognizing why you're wanting to move into that space. So in today's episode, I want to talk to you about the strategy around this reset. Okay. Now, I know for a fact that parents in this community go to bed feeling like they're just really average parents, right? That they are not doing enough, that they could be doing better, that they could be reaching higher standards or doing what should they be doing more for their child so their child could be thriving, right? So we're always looking for what can we do. And oftentimes we beat ourselves up. We beat ourselves up in a way that we're never going to be good enough. And we have these like impossible standards, right? I don't know anyone, any parent raising an autistic child, regardless of your mindset, who's walking around like Mary Poppins being like, yes, girl, we got it. No, we don't get it. We are doing our best with what we've got and doing what we can to support our child on an everyday basis. And that can be really hard. And there's different curveballs on different days. And some days you're going to run on less sleep, and some days you're going to be more angry, and some days you're going to feel like you're on top of the world. And that all relates again back to your cycle and where you are in your period. And don't get me started on where that is at, because that again is in a different episode. And we need to be looking at that, because you can't be running at 100% the whole way through your cycle. It's impossible. We've proven it through science. We've proven it in our own lives. There are going to be moments in your cycle where you need to take the back seat, right? And so much harder in a position where you are a single parent, right? Where you're like, well, Nat, that's great. Thanks. Let me know how that works out for me when I'm a single parent and I have no one else to rely on when it comes to being in either the week before your period or the week of your period. So take that with a grain of salt. We can unpack that on another episode, but that is something that we need to take into consideration when we're looking at the reset. Where are you in that cycle? Where are you, so that you can better present yourself and your body and your mind? Because it's all linked, right? You can't tell me that you are feeling on top of the world 2 or 3 days before your period. There's been studies and research that shows that some women are having suicidal ideation a week before their period. Some women are having depressive thoughts, a few days before their period. Some people just feel awful and terrible and feel yuck and are not coping, because everything that they thought that they could manage now feels like it's crumbling around them. So with that, there's so much to it, and there is so much to unpack, and everyone's going to be different, right? Everyone is going to present in a different way, but this reset is able to get you from the evening until the next morning. So let's get to it. All right. First of all, let's get down to business, ladies. I want you to make sure that your bedroom is a sanctuary. Now, I don't know about you, but there were times where my bedroom was an absolute, it was not a sanctuary. I can tell you that right now. I always try to be really consistent with making my bed. I think making my bed is a sign that I'm like ready to start the day. So the bed would always be made, but was there crap everywhere? Were there bags? Were there toys? Were there this and that? Yes. So getting all that crap out of the bedroom if you can, right? And making sure that the space feels good when you step into it. The next thing I'm going to say to you is, a lot of women, a lot of men in this space do not spend a lot of money on themselves, because a lot of the time the money is going back into therapies. It's going back into anything that needs to happen for the child, food, utilities, rent, mortgage, whatever, right? So there's not a lot of money being spent on us as parents. So there's 2 places I'd like you to start spending some money on. Really, really good quality linen. Okay. Now, ideally cotton, something that is going to be beautiful to sleep in, right? If you're going to splurge on your bedding, right? Because I don't know about you guys, but I am not going to get a massage every week. I am not going to the spa every month. So making sure that when you get into that bed, it's like feeling like you are getting a hug from your bed, right? Making sure, and if you've got extra money to splurge, making sure that you've got a really good mattress and a good pillow. Definitely checking out a chiropractor who has pillows, who can best support the neck and the shoulders. But making sure that you feel that when you get into bed, it feels divine. Like it feels like you are getting that space that it's just for you. Okay. The second thing I want to talk to you about is splurge is pajamas. Now, I know that there are some women who are listening to this who have pajamas that are as old as their children. Okay. I know you. I know, because I was you. Yeah. I used to have those old pajamas too. Why do you need new pajamas? Don't worry. No one sees you. You're in bed. You're asleep. Yada, yada, yada. Tell yourself whatever you're going to tell yourself. Do me a favor. Either go online, go in person, go to the DFO outlets, go wherever you want to go, but splurge on some really beautiful, luxurious pajamas. Nowadays, there are so many companies making the most beautiful feeling pajamas that just feel so luxe, and they feel good. They feel especially when you're not treating yourself. I want you to go for a shower and put them on and just feel like, okay, again, I've just come out of the spa. I feel amazing. Make sure that they are something that you love to get into. And if you can't afford to buy them, get someone to gift them for you for Christmas, for your birthday, whatever it is. But ladies, this is something that is really, really important. And it's something that sets the tone. Okay, so the third thing is getting everything out of here and onto paper. I need you to write out everything that you need to do tomorrow. What does that look like? Okay. Write it all down. Get it out of here. If you don't write it down, it will stay in here for the rest of the night and it will circle around in your brain because it thinks that if I don't keep remembering, you're going to forget, right? So I have to keep it front of mind so that you can remember, because otherwise, if we forget, we're going to be in big trouble and it's going to be a very, very bad thing. So write it all down. Now, if you're a bit of a planner like me, maybe you're thinking about things that have to happen, next week, next month, next whatever, right? Write it all down. If that means that you need to get a piece of paper and you need to put 3 columns and say this week, next month, do it that way. However, whatever feels good for you. If you've got an ADHD brain, probably just writing down what tomorrow is going to look like is going to be a much better bet rather than trying to cram in everything else that's going on. Figure out a system that feels good for you to be able to take out everything so that you're not using that brain capacity for nothing, right? Put it all down on paper. You don't have to forget because it's all written down. You don't have to remember. It's written down. It's taken care of. And I want you to then get in bed. Get in bed. Now, assuming that the kids are in bed, right? As we know in our community, children tend to wake up, need some more comforting, do what you need to do. But eventually, when you are finally in bed, I want you to lay down in the mattress and really allow your body to sink into the mattress. I don't want you to be thinking about anything as hard. And I'm hoping for you that if you've written everything down, the likelihood of anything kind of swirling around in your brain is now no longer there because you don't need to do that anymore because it's all written down. So you've gotten it out of your system. So lay in the bed, lay into the mattress, and just want you to close your eyes. Okay. Take a few deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. We're trying to signal to the nervous system that everything is okay, that we are not under attack, that we are not under threat, and that everything is safe and everything is fine. So by doing those breaths, maybe do 3, maybe 4. If you find you can do box breathing if that's easier for you. Otherwise, just breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth is just as good, right? Again, we want to signal that we're safe, right? We don't want to be in a position where we're laying down and our brain is saying, alert, threat, we need to be aware. There's no way that you can tick off like that. You can't really relax. So I want you to lay down and do the breath. And then I want you to close, like you've got your eyes closed. I want you to imagine in front of you that you've got a really large whiteboard. Okay. The whiteboard has a sketch drawing of the day. And someone's drawn out exactly what's happened from all the good things, all the bad things, and everything else in between. And you can sort of see the timeline on the whiteboard, what happened in the morning with the yelling and the being late. And then, maybe you're having your chai and it's like, oh, it's amazing, right? It's like a beautiful, hug. And then you're having lunch and then you're like running to a therapy appointment and you're cursing yourself as to why you're running late again. And then you're, doing pickup and then there's like meltdowns and all the other bits and pieces. But then you're like, there's pictures of you dancing with your kid in the lounge room to your favorite music and you really connecting. Have it in pictures on this whiteboard about everything that happened that day. And then I want you to mentally grab the whiteboard eraser and rub it all out. And I want you to physically, in your mind's eye, rub it out and see that it is being erased and rub the whole entire whiteboard out. And what I want you to do is I want you to see that you have a fresh slate. You have a space that now no longer has any drawings or anything else that could possibly change, manipulate, impact the next day. And I want you to see it being blank. There's nothing on there. And I want you at the top, I want you to get your marker and I want you to write the next day, right? Whatever the next day, Monday, Tuesday, whatever, and the date and, the 18th of February, 2027. And in that space, now you can just see this blank space. And I want you to give yourself the forgiveness and the grace of whatever happened that day. What the good, the bad, the ugly, it doesn't matter. I want you to allow yourself to know that you're not a perfect parent. And can I add this caveat? I am far from a good parent. I am far from a perfect parent. I make mistakes all the time. I am not in a position to go, yes, great, I am the Mary Poppins. Lord knows I have yelled in my house, right? I have yelled at my kids. I have yelled at my partner. I have yelled at myself. But I know, and if I look at the day, I can recognize where I was really struggling and what it had. And if we look at meltdowns for kids, which we often do when I'm coaching parents, what happened before? And so what was the lead up for me feeling so terrible? Was it because I was pushing myself too hard? Was it because I wasn't getting enough sleep? Was it because I ate terribly? Was it because I had a drink of alcohol? I don't drink, but in this situation, maybe another parent is drinking and it's impacting their sleep quality. There's always things that we can look at that really impact the way that we show up. So giving yourself the forgiveness and the grace to be able to start again. Because Lord knows that if we don't do that for ourselves, no one else is coming to do that for you, right? We hear it all the time. We hear Mel Robbins saying it all the time. No one is coming to save you, right? No one is going to be the hero of your life unless you step into that stage, that persona, that job title of you being the hero for yourself, right? I don't know any hero of any movie going, oh, really, probably shouldn't have killed that bad guy, what about his family and, feel really bad or what? No one's thinking that. No hero is second guessing what's coming up. No hero is thinking that they could have done better. Oh, I really could have sucked at that battle. I really should have killed that guy first because then if this guy came in, I wouldn't have done this and this and this. Making sure that you give yourself that space to being like, you know what? No one gave me a manual on how to raise this kid. No one gave me a manual on how to parent. I'm going to start again and I'm going to do better, right? I'm going to show up. And if that means that I need to read a specific book, watch a specific podcast, catch up with a girlfriend. I can't tell you the amount of times that I've heard parents tell me, I feel stressed. I don't know how, I feel lost. I am not coping. And I say to them, when's the last time you had fun? And they will look at me blankly and go, I don't remember when I caught up with my girlfriends last. I don't remember when I truly had one of those big belly laughs. So if that is something that you need, schedule that in, right? Make time for it. Regardless of whether that looks like, whether it's, if you're a single parent and you just need to get on the phone with your girlfriend, it can look like that. Schedule it to go in the afternoon so that your kids can go for a play and you can still have your coffee with your girlfriend in a controlled environment, obviously, where your kids are safe and you can still connect. Go out if you can and have a babysitter. Come over. Maybe it's grandparents, maybe it's a babysitter, and go and have some fun. But that all leads into that reset of feeling good. You might be thinking, how is having fun being able to look at that reset about me sleeping better? If it becomes a grind, if parenting becomes a grind and it becomes something that is, we've just got to push through, we've just got to get to the next day, your nervous system is going to be shot. You will get sick and you will not be able to be there for your children. Period. That's it. It's over. I need you to be able to take that space. I need you to be able to say, no, This is a non-negotiable. I need this to be able to function. I need this to do what I need to do. My husband, perfect example, goes to soccer, catches up with the boys, has a run around, loves it. He is a different person when he does not go. I encourage him to go because I think it's such a perfect example of how mental health can be transformed for good. So just to recap, we've got the beautiful linen, right? Making sure that you're looking and investing in really good linen, investing in beautiful, good quality cotton pajamas that feel amazing and feel luxurious on, right? Nothing that's going to be with polyester. You don't want anything that's going to be keeping the heat in where you're not going to be able to sleep properly. You need the fabrics to be able to breathe properly and for you not to sweat. We don't want sweating happening in the middle of the night because your body can't breathe through that fabric. You want to be able to get everything out onto a journal, right? Write out your to-do list. Make sure it's out there so that you're not keeping it in your brain and it's not something that's ruminating in your mind and keeping you awake. Doing the whiteboard scenario where you are literally, I literally want you in your mind to imagine that you are rubbing out the day, right? It's kind of like playing a video game. And so like, remember when we were like, I'm going to show my age now, like when we were playing Atari and you would die, you'd be playing Mario Brothers and you'd die, but you get to start again, right? If I want you to imagine it like a video game that you get to, okay, cool, I learned how to do that jump. So next time I'm going to do it better next time, or I'm going to learn how to jump to the next, I don't play video games anymore, but jump to the next land. So making sure that you are physically, and it's really, really important that you're imagining. And if you say to me that you really struggle with having something in your mind's eye, having that imagination, do your best to recreate what that looks like. And if that means that you physically need to get a whiteboard and write everything down that happened during the day and physically with your whiteboard eraser, rub it out, then do that. I have a very vivid imagination. I'm able to see a lot of things through my mind's eye. So this is not difficult for me. But for some people who can't tap into that, that would be my next step as to what that looks like. And then allowing your body to let go of the day. Okay, we're not holding tight onto it. We're not reliving it. We're not holding on to what we could have done better or how that happened or why is this happening to us? Why is this happening to him? Why is I feel like I'm a crappy parent? We're not holding on to those questions. Okay, we're literally just going to let it go. Now, a lot of people, and I second this, a lot of people will talk about gratitude on what had happened. And I will write down my gratitude, my 5 things in my little notebook, right? This is something that you can write down in the same notebook that you write down for your on your to-do list. When you're in the thick of it, it can feel really, really hard to find that gratitude. It can feel like you are trying to find a pin in a haystack. And so, or it's probably like a needle in a haystack, probably. Yeah. And so what I want you to do is think of the things that you might have noticed that maybe somebody else, another parent might not have recognized. It might be that the child gave you eye contact. It might be that you got to drink your coffee hot, which never happens. It might be that you got to lay in bed for an extra 5 minutes. It could be that your partner got up and made the kids breakfast, or maybe that your partner got up when your kid came down at 3 o'clock in the morning and let you stay in bed. Maybe it was being on time at school. Maybe it was that you gave your children a nutritious meal. Whatever it is, it can be so small. It literally can be so small. But recognizing the good things, because like I was saying before, our brains are wired for the negative. Our brains are wired for the alert, for the challenge, for the things that are going wrong. But training it to look for the good things is going to help your brain celebrate that stuff, which is going to make you feel more confident about being a good parent, about feeling like you're a great parent, feeling like you know what you're doing and that you don't need to be an expert, but right now you just need to know that you're not a crappy parent, right? I saw this on socials the other day. And this woman said, if you're raising an autistic child, you have three things like if to know if you're a good parent. And the first one was, are your children alive? Are they sitting and breathing? Great, you're a good parent. Are your children eating? Are they having food? Are they being fed in any which capacity, right? It doesn't matter how it looks, whether they have sensory eating or not. Are they having food? Yes, tick. Are you watching this reel from a psych ward? If you're at home, tick. So all of these things, we put so much pressure on ourselves to really think that we need to have this level of standard up here, which can seem impossible. So let's just aim for here. So I hope that this episode was helpful. I hope that you walk away with a list of things that you want to get done by the end of the week. Linen, pajamas, the whiteboard exercise, the to-do list. I want you to feel confident in being a parent because I know that you care. You wouldn't be listening to this if you didn't care. You wouldn't be, making notes or thinking about how you can improve your life if you actually didn't care about yourself or your family. So I hope this resonates. If this is something that is helpful, I hope that you can share it with another friend, a colleague, a grandparent, a cousin, an aunt, a sister, and maybe this is something that we can all put into play and help our evenings just a little bit better so that our reset for the next morning is going to be better, easier, and the transition is smoother. All right, guys, I'm going to go. I will talk to you soon. Have a most amazing day, and I will see you then. See you later.